I typically don't read books by men, nor do I usually read fantasy, especially adult fantasy. But I recently started watching the TV show Game of Thrones. I'm obsessed. I know, I'm like 10 years late. So I figured we'd start the journey of reading the books together. Everyone says the books are better for everything, right, than the show or the movie. But like, I don't know how that's possible because the show is so good. But I'm ready to be proven wrong. I bought the first four books in the series. I don't know how many are out, maybe five, off of Pango. Miss Girl is prepared. 23 pages in. Everyone is so young in the book compared to in the show. I think I said Rob and John are like 13, 14, and Ned is only 35. I'm really glad in the show that they aged everyone up because I feel like it works better. I'm already like not a big book person, so I'm kind of intimidated by how long this is, but I'm also excited because there's just like so much to get into. But there's so many pages and the font is tiny. So we'll see how long it takes me to get through this. Also, Theon sucks already. Like a few pages in, he's the worst. I'm on page 374. In all transparency, it has been weeks since my last update. I had to enlist the help of the audiobook in order to make progress on this. Not because the book isn't good, the book's actually very good, and the fact that George R. R. Martin is able to like come up with this entire world of characters and politics and different family lines and relationships and stuff is like mind-blowing to me. But book one is so similar to season one of the show, and since I watched season one of the show very recently, I feel like I'm not getting a ton out of this, but I'm still pushing through because I know the show, or I've heard that the show divulges from the books after the first book, so I'm really excited to get into the second book, see where things like start to change. Here's a couple of my thoughts. I just lost my bookmark. Shit. It's all good. Here's a couple of my thoughts that I've had while reading. Okay, one, Dany and Khal Drogo's wedding night scene in the book is so much better than it is in the show. In the show, it is so disturbing, and it's also disturbing in the book because Dany's even younger in the book than she is in the show. She's like 13 or 14 or something, very young. So that's like scary. However, in the book, Khal Drogo is a lot more gentle with her, especially since they aged Dany up in the show. It could have made it so much less awful than it was. Anyways, we get so many Catelyn Stark chapters. If you haven't read the book is split up into chapters like based on different characters, which is super fun because obviously like there's so many different characters. We get so many Catelyn chapters and I hate her. She is just like so boring, her chapters, and I just do not enjoy reading her chapters at all. So far my favorite chapters are probably Arya's, just because she's like such a fun character, and Tyrion's. In the show, I'm like a little nervous because in the show, Tyrion is without a doubt my favorite character. I love Tyrion, but I've heard that show Tyrion is way better than book Tyrion. So I'm scared that he's gonna be like evil. But in the book so far, in book one, like he has that funny charm, but also like kindness. And his conversations with Jon are so endearing. Their friendship like really blossoms. And I know like we get some of that in the show too, but for some reason in the book, like it just feels more meaningful. I also like the one of the houses in Game of Thrones that I just like don't care about is the Tully house, and also like the Vale, Lord of the Vale, and like right now we're at a point where I'm getting like quite a bit of that. So anyways, I'm having like somewhat mixed feelings about the book, but I'm continuing to make progress on it. I'll update y'all once I have more thoughts, and hopefully I'll be closer to the end by the next time we chat. I have a very hard truth to reveal to you. I will be DNFing Game of Thrones. I made it halfway. I actually recently finished the show, all of the seasons. The ending of the show, what a disaster. I made it halfway through the book, a whopping 400 pages. I listened to the audio, I read the print book, I read it on my Kobo. Like I literally did everything I could to try and keep myself, like keep this pushing. It has been 2 months since I started this, and I just don't have any desire to pick it up. So Similar to the show, like if I were to read this before the show, I think I would have been so much more interested in what was going on. But knowing every little thing that's coming really just takes all the fun out of it. So I'm giving up because I just don't want to force myself to keep reading it when I'm not having fun with it. That does not mean I'm DNFing this series forever, though. I'm thinking I need to give myself some separation, a little time, since I've just watched the entire show and I'm currently watching House of the Dragon. So I feel like I'm just kind of like a little bit burnt out in this world and I don't have the attention span for it. But eventually, when I start to miss it in like maybe a year or a few months, I think I'll try to start the second book. I don't think I'll come back to the first one. Yeah, that was like a little anticlimactic, but I'm happy with my decision to DNF for now.